Welcome along to Betting Weekly Live. You're with Dan Roebuck alongside me. As you can see, Lewis Jones, we're going to talk Premier League. Really interesting slate coming up, of course, with both Arsenal and Manchester City in action tonight. We've got a little bit of Euro chat as well right at the top, or at least I'm going to pass on Steve's thoughts. He's got an interesting play, a regular play on the Rayo game, which we'll get to in a second as well. Lewis, how are you this midweek? How's your week so far?
Yeah, excellent, Dan. Thank you for choosing my favourite song as well to lead off.
I don't choose them.
Do you not? I thought it was you.
I press the button and things happen. So it's always John or Troy.
I think it might be the betting gods doing me a favour early doors, maybe, to pick that song, because that's put me in a fine mood ahead of our chat. Yeah, really, really interesting night, isn't it? Ahead in the Premier League, really busy one. Both Arsenal and Manchester City kicking off at the same time for the first time. For the first time, probably could be the last time potentially all season, considering the where they're going to be the TV picks are and who's going to be playing first and second. That's going to make a huge difference, I think, over the next few months, which is interesting to see how that plays out. But yeah, so both teams will just be looking to get on with the job in hand tonight. But I'm sure there'll be little bits of information that potentially could feed through. And they both. I'd say Nottingham Forest got the easier fixture, haven't they? Man City got the easier fixture than Arsenal this evening. I think Arsenal probably should be okay at Brighton, but it's a fiddly one, isn't it? So yeah, plenty on the line elsewhere in the Premier League as well tonight. So yeah, good matches. Hopefully a little bit more entertaining and a bit more oomph in the games than last night. But slow burners, weren't they? The Leeds-Sunderland game was horrendous. The first 80 minutes of Liverpool versus Wolves was horrendous, and we are having to sit through some pretty hard games from an entertainment point of view to try and enjoy at the moment. But there's still bets to be had, isn't there? So we must crack on.
Indeedy. And we'll get to some picks, obviously. Lewis is going to talk his way through all of the action for us. Just speaking of City, very quickly on this one, because Guys was first in the chat. He says, hello. Any chatter out there regarding Man City punishment that you may have heard? Thanks, great show as always. Is this any further along? Have you heard any whispers about any sort of news breaking, any points deduction, or is it just same old, same old?
It's same old, unfortunately. Yeah, no, it's can't really add anything to that. Unfortunately, I'm not in a position really to go and explore those news lines. Really, far too busy with the betting side and the live coverage side to go and get involved in all that news journalistic stuff. But yeah, I'm quite in with news sports. But yeah, no, we're hearing nothing at the moment. So yeah, it's obviously the thing that's lurking in the background, and anyone that's backing Man City potentially in the anti-post markets will have to factor that into the way they price it up. But all quiet on that front, which is again, as you said, same old really from that point of view.
I think a lot of the time you look at relegation markets and City are always sort of lingering amongst those teams that might go down. It is what it is. So can't help you that one, guys. Sorry about that. Ray says, good afternoon to Dan and Louis. Zorba the Greek says, hello, chaps. Top four finish. Are Villa done? We'll get on to Villa shortly. Mike is with us. Byron is with us. Morning, everyone. Not great yesterday. Barca halftime. Strasbourg live in the 72nd minute. Made it okay. Kevin says, a big day. It is indeed. Mike says, terrible day for me. And Liverpool lost onwards and upwards. Dave said, had a bad day in the soccer yesterday. Liverpool burned me just when I thought I could trust them against poor Wolves. I'm going to paraphrase what you said there. Ming says, good day to everyone. Can Chelsea be trusted to beat a struggling Villa side? Villa fan says, hi, Dan. Hello. It's great to see you both. Great to see Villa fan. We're going to talk Villa shortly. Be interesting to get Lewis's thoughts, obviously. What else we got here? Buddha Charles says, nice shout on the Alex Scott +2 shots, Lewis. That might be one of your column bets, was it, Lewis?
He's a great. He's playing a much more advanced role at the moment. Alex Scott for Bournemouth, and the markets sleep every week, so we might as well get our feed whilst we can.
Yeah, and Dave says, Dan, looking forward to your opinion on the Arsenal game. There's a Brighton player, and I'm sure Lewis knows this, that he's playing further forward than he has done all season. We'll get on to him a little bit later. Wilfred says, Chelsea can be trusted with cards and goals. Yesterday, rough day for the slip, says the salty goat. Zorba the Greek, lots of Man United players missing with a bug. Not heard that. Joe says, City win, Arsenal draw. We will be there. As always, midweek lacked goals, says Byron. Rick Haley's with us as well. Just want to rattle through some big bets that we've had as well. Focusing on yesterday, $25,000 plan, Barcelona, Botafogo. I think that was in the Copa Libertadores, was it? Over 2.5 goals, which is a loser. plus 225, 25k down the drain, unfortunately. Liverpool live team total over 0.5 goals at around about even money, which was a winner, $20,000 play. Didn't think that was going to come, but it did in the end with that Salah strike. Huracan Belgrano live over 4.5 goals, which is a loser, $19,000 play. Barca Atleti in the Copa del Rey, wasn't it, last night, the second leg, a $17,000 play over 2 first half Asian goals, which was a winner. And I like the Wolves-Liverpool bets because we had live over 2.5 goals at plus 145, which just about got over the line. I mean, it sort of deserved to, didn't I think, Lewis? But, you were wondering for a long time in that game. And nice to see some nice small bets with decent odds getting over the line. $50 play on Wolves on the money line, 25-1 to win $1,250, and $150 on Wolves money line, 12-1. Liverpool against Liverpool, that won $1,800. They're nice if you get them right, aren't they? Those two. But if you were sweating on over 2.5, I would imagine. What's your just very quick take on Wolves at the moment? I bet them for the FA Cup, and I just know they're going to get turned over on Friday by Liverpool. They've won the wrong game for me. But what's your take on Wolves from a betting slant?
Well, that's the worst thing that could have happened to you, really, in terms of the Wolves bet. I mean, Liverpool going to be angry, I think, on Friday. And you play that game probably 100 times, and Liverpool probably do win it 1-0. That's what Arne Slot was trying to do, to try and control the hell out of the game, offer up nothing for Wolves. Their first shot was the goal. So that's how little they got near the Liverpool. Not that Liverpool played well, deserved to win the game. They were very flat, didn't take advantage of lots and lots of territory. But yeah, no, Liverpool were just punished, and they're getting punished a lot this season. And I do think there is a continued sort of vulnerability about the two centre-backs when you put them under pressure in key moments of the match. And just from a Wolves perspective, I was delighted yesterday because I'm on Burnley to finish bottom from about a month ago, and that was looking. So once they won at Crystal Palace, I'm sort of tempted to throw that in the bin. But these two back-to-back wins for Wolves have really got it going. I think there's 3 points between them now. I know Burnley got a game in hand. I think they play each other on the final day of the season as well. So they could be absolutely nothing on that game, but everything on the line for me. So it's an interesting situation, that. But I think Burnley are the worst team in the league still. I've stood by that all season. And thankfully, Wolves have started to pick up a few undeserved victories. I mean, they're nothing. They are a bottom 3 team, I think, but they're just defending a bit more with a bit more organisation. Manager made good changes at the right time yesterday, and they've just got a little bit more about them. I really like João Gomez and Andre in midfield. They should not be
terrific player.
Both of them in the midfield should not be playing in a relegation threatened team. So I'm sure they'll be okay at the end of the season when they go get bigger moves. But yeah, as long as Wolves can overhaul Burnley, I'll be happy, Dan. That's where my thoughts are on Wolves at the moment.
It's going to be one of those awful games, as you've just called it there. No one's interested in the score by you. I remember once, I don't know if you remember this, Lewis, because you're a lot younger than me. I needed City to win the handicap, and they needed to draw away at Middlesbrough on the last day of the season. They got beat 8-1.
8-1, yes, I remember. No, I do remember.
No one cared about the result. City fans partying the way end. And I'm thinking, you've just done me for the handicap there. I've just bet, my 14-1 shot's gone down. And no one else cares but me. It's a problem with some of the bets sometimes, isn't it?
It's the world we live in. It takes us to some weird and wacky places.
Absolutely. RHM says, I told Jack that Burnley wouldn't score. Tipped under Everton and under. Nice play from RHM. Yeah, get your picks in the chat because we've Premier League focused today. So if you've got any copper stuff for all of the gang, because I know that everybody's got some good selections in some of the games that we're not going to cover. So pop them in because I'm sure that others will be interested in that. RHM says taking both teams to score on Villa. Chelsea, Joe Bamber, Chelsea double chance. Sounds like a parlay piece, but they love to get a red card and lose. This is true. Mike says, yeah, I'm following you with Burnley to be welcome. So fingers crossed. City halftime, full-time player of the day. Jack put that up on the Premier League show. If you've seen that, Byron, I'm sure you have. In terms of streams, if you've got BetRivers account, BetRivers app, you can watch Rayo against Rayo Oviedo in La Liga, Lazio Atalanta in the Coppa. I was going to have a look at that, but I've been so bad on the Coppa Italia games that we've chopped it off the running order. But if you've got any picks, as I say, put them in the chat. 2 Coupe de France games, 3 Swiss Superliga fixtures are going to be streamed live. We've got the Croatian Cup between Rijeka and Hajduk Split, and also some Romanian knockout action as well. Craiova against Cluj, 3 Turkish Cup matches, and also the tennis as well, ATP and WTA Indian Wells qualifiers. I've got something on that to give you. In fact, I may as well give it you now, in fact, while we're talking tennis, because most tennis fans will tell you that Indian Wells is very much the fifth major, and BetRivers is giving bettors a bonus swing for the event. Players in New York or New Jersey can take advantage of our fifth major bonus bet from Betting Weekly. Enter the bonus code BW32 in your BetRivers app to receive a $10 bonus bet to use on the Indian Wells BNP Paribas Open. The code again is BW32. It's available to BetRivers bettors in New York and New Jersey. Offer ends on March the 15th. Must be 21. Eligible players only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Little bit of business before we get into the Premier League action with some European football. So let me just put the prices up on screen for you. First of all, I'm going to give you the prices on this game, which is Rayo against Real Oviedo. This is a 1 p.m. kickoff, so not too far away from the action here. We've got a little bit of chat here already. What's Joe saying? Joe says, I love Vallecano to win here. They absolutely need those 3 points to secure themselves. Rayo game corner, says Chippy Chips. Well, I'm going to tell you what Steve says in just a second. I made Rayo about this price slightly shorter, and I'm not going to get involved from a money line point of view. They're minus 148 to win it. Real Oviedo are plus 430. The tie is plus 255. This is the game that's been rescheduled because of flooding, I think, wasn't it? A few weeks ago. Overs and unders there. I make the prices about right here. Those are the first and only time goal scorer prices as well. Just a quick glance at those for you. With Forest at plus 540 might be a little bit of a lean for me, but it's not a game I'm going to get too heavily involved in, bar to follow Mr. Steve Wiss. Now, this is what Steve has said to me. So listen up, everybody. Jennifer says he's got Cheras shot on target minus 110 for this one. So this is from the great Steve Wiss himself, who says, and I quote, the corner ladder comes out big time today in Rayo versus Oviedo, up to 14.5. Would have had it over 9.5 corners as a 2 or even a 2.5 unit play if this was a weekend match. And he basically explains, I've got to get my phone out for this bit. He basically explains that after the manager change, there's been a real upswing when it comes to corners from Oviedo matches. And we know that Rayo games are corner heavy. Steve has been talking about this for the last few months. He says, since Oviedo set their manager, 14th of December, they've averaged 5.25 corners per game, taking out the Barca game, and won the corner count 5 times. We know that Rayo are a corner machine as well. He says this is one to get the ladder out when it comes to the corners. So that's the Rayo Oviedo game. In terms of where the money's been going here, 90% of the money, 97% of the tickets on Rayo, and most of the tickets on overs as well. Both teams to score has hit in each of Rayo's last 4 La Liga matches as a favourite, and 6 of his last 8 full stop, and over 2.5 goals has hit in 3 of Real Oviedo's last 4 La Liga away matches. Real Oviedo winless in each of its last 9 away games. But we're hoping for corners. Steve's going to go mad on the corner count for that one. And finally, before we get into the Premier League action, just a quick look at the Hamburg by Leverkusen game as well. In terms of where the money's been going, no real surprise here. It's gone on Leverkusen. 88% of the money, 89% of the tickets. Most of the cash has gone on overs as well. But anybody who was watching the Bundesliga action on Saturday, suddenly the goals dried up completely. I don't know if Malvo's with us, but if he is, he'll have a thought on this, I'm sure. Both team scorers hitting 8 of Hamburg's last 9. 4 of Hamburg's last 7 home matches have resulted in a draw. The under 2.5 goals market has hit in 5 of Leverkusen's last 7 Bundesliga games. I actually thought that Hamburg, and I know if Steve was with me now, Steve wouldn't agree with this, but I think that Hamburg on a draw no bet line, draw double chance, however you want to play it, just basically get the draw on your side somehow. That might be a play for me. Chippy Chip saying should be goals here. Byron talking about Leverkusen on the banned list. What, after the weekend? Yeah, I think so. Ming Chung says Leverkusen should be winning this game. Hamburg is the play, says Byron. I won't bet on Leverkusen with your money, says the salty goal. Yeah, they've let a lot of people down. And obviously they play Arsenal in the Champions League next midweek as well. So just bear that in mind. They've got a heavy schedule coming up. This is a 2:30 Eastern game. I'm probably going to play Hamburg probably draw. I don't know what the Asian line is yet. I've not had a massive look at the game, but I will certainly be looking to get with Hamburg over Leverkusen in that Bundesliga game that was rescheduled because of bad weather. Let's get into the Premier League action. This is why Mr. Jones is on the show. And we're going to kick off with Aston Villa against Chelsea. A lot of Villa fans in chat here. I don't know about this one, Lewis, because I look at those prices and I'm thinking Villa at plus 185 look a bit of a bet to me. I mean, obviously they're in poor form. They've only won one of the last 6. It's the third biggest price that Villa have been at home this season, behind visits from Arsenal and Man City. This is Chelsea. They're not in that class. They're plus 143. But when I did price it up, I did make Chelsea favourite. So I am uncertain. What are your thoughts on Villa Chelsea?
Oh, the chaps in the Villa chaps in the chat aren't going to like this, I think. So I can't go anywhere near Villa here. I think I'm very much on the same vibes as I had when we were last on, actually, Dan, weren't we, for the Friday show last week?
Same rules apply.
Yeah, I do think the same rules apply. I think that's a nice way of putting it, actually, because it's these 3 key players that they're still missing: Kamara, Tielemans, and John McGinn. Such a huge miss. I can't put any faith in them at the moment without those 3 in there. They just look stale, I think, without stale going forward in terms of chance creation and making things happen. I just think they just look slow when they're moving the ball. I've mentioned before about how good Tielemans is at doing that in terms of making things tick and making things giving the team lots of forward momentum. And I just think they're just lacking so much intent in that area at the moment. And even without the ball, Kamara as well. I mentioned this before. This with and without stats is something which I'm just going to reiterate again. 57 games now, where the with and without stats, goals against goes from 1.1 to 1.5. Win percent drops from 59% to 40%. So this is just, without Kamara there, he just knits everything together for Emery, I think, tactically. And they're just got a fear for them here against a team like Chelsea that do carry a lot of quality in the final third. And even if you just look at Villa's last 6 games without those 3 players, been favourites to win every single one of them. Leeds, Newcastle, Brighton, Bournemouth, Brentford, and Wolves. Just won of those games in that 6-game run. Scored just 4 goals as well in those 6 matches. I just think their attacking process has gone to pot, really, in the last few weeks. And I do think that stems from these 3 midfielders missing. I just think there's such a reliance on Morgan Rogers to create something out of nothing. And if you can just get men around him and stifle the service into him, which I think Chelsea will do. Caicedo is one of the best around at doing that. He's just going to be on Rodgers like you wouldn't believe, I think, and just trying to stop the supply into him. And when he gets it, he'll be just snapping around him. So really difficult to make any sort of pro Aston Villa case here. Chelsea, though, plus 143, aren't they? Or so around that?
Yeah.
I don't think I can touch that either. I think they've been well found here in the market. But one thing, and the reason for that, I think, that I'm just very, very sort of cold on taking a chance on Chelsea as well, is Villa's defensive holding up okay. Offered up 0.6 xG per 90 0.9 xG against per 90 in those 6 games. So the organisation really still there under Emery. It's just that the games are lacking spark, lacking end-to-end action. They're very tight games, these ones. And I think with this defensive security still intact, but the Villa attack floundering, I want to get the under goals on my side here against. And I'm very happy that the prices hold up here. I thought it might move towards unders a little bit more. We get closer to kickoff, but still we're looking odds against, aren't we, here for over 2.5, which is under 2.5, which is a really a line I want to play, and I'm probably going to take a bit more security, really, I think, for the daily double today, and that is the first part of it. It's the under 3.5 goals line. We played it against in the Villa versus Wolves match. I'm willing to trust it again here for the first part of the best bet on the card here, because I just think those games that we've seen Villa recently, the goal averages have sort of nosedive about these 3 players. They're playing a lot more cagey football, I'd say, and I think they're probably going to draw Chelsea into a very sort of cagey game. And I think the unders is the bet here. I think the market has not really cottoned on to this change in the goal output for Villa over the past few weeks. So still think there's juice, and it did me a favour with the Wolves game. The under 3.5 cop quite easily. I'm not sure this will cop as easily, but I think it's the way to play the game, because you get all the low-scoring Chelsea win on side. I mean, even 2-1 will get us over the line in that point of view for the under 3.5 line. It's minus 220, so it is a little bit short to play as a single. Wouldn't put people off the under 2.5, but I think it's just about right, the price. So I think I just would rather take the insurance for the daily double and go under 3.5. So I think it's going to be, I can see Chelsea winning 1-0, maybe 2-0. Don't want to go anywhere near Villa, but don't really want to back Chelsea either. So the unders look the play, just with those three key players missing, Dan.
If you go back to Friday's show, myself and Lewis was on talking about Villa. We gave a lot of numbers out about Kamara and the unders since all those three key players are missing, and you're basically cashing every single time. For the purpose of the daily double, Lucy's going to go under 3.5. We'll get the second leg of the daily double a little bit later on the show. Somebody asked, who was it? Mike says, any idea when the main players for Villa will return? I'm just looking at the one of the injury table websites here. They're saying Kamara is not going to play this season, knee injury, by the looks of things. Tielemans on January the 28th, they said he was going to be out for 8 to 10 weeks. So that's back end of March, early April. And McGinn, they say knee injury. The last update was saying, very important, he's not available for tomorrow, talking about today's game. So McGinn might be the one that comes back a little bit earlier. The Villa fans in the chat might know a little bit more than me.
We've got to factor in the World Cup in this situation as well, because all those players, especially McGinn and Tielemans, if they're not going to want to rush themselves back, because they want to they'll have the World Cup in the back of their mind, that they want to be fresh for that. I know the club football is obviously, that's what they get paid to do, but that's going to be part of the thinking, I think, for them personally. They don't want to rush themselves back and risk missing a World Cup either. So I would probably extend those estimates a little bit out further. I think they want to get him back, and they want to get him back without any risk, I think. So yeah, it could be a interesting few, maybe next month for Aston. But they've got some big games coming up as well in Europa League, haven't they, as well? So if they've got these three missing there as well, it could be a struggle for them in that competition as well. So definitely betting opportunities to take advantage of.
Yeah, I like unders. I don't want to back Chelsea. I make them favourites. If they got a little bit bigger, if they got towards plus 150, I might be tempted to bet them, or certainly get them on side. A lot of people suggesting that. RHM saying draw away over 1.5 Aston Villa Chelsea is a pick. Byron talking about the Hamburg game. Half a goal minus 121. That'd be acceptable for me, Byron. It all depends on how you bet. Steve saying he does agree with me when it comes to Leverkusen, Hamburg. Leverkusen unreliable. Incidentally, Steve, along with the hitman Paul Hughes, they will be on Instagram Live halftime of the 4 Premier League games that kick off at 7:30 UK. So that's going to be 3:15 Eastern, 8:15 UK. Head over to our Instagram page and you get Steve and Paul talking their way through all of the best bets for the second half in the Premier League action. What else are we getting? Ginepi says, dangerous thing betting on the money line. I think it'd be a draw. Talking about the Chelsea game there, Ginepi. I think you probably are. Jamich saying, yeah, Villa stay well put. What else? Under 2.75 minus 112 is a great number. Would not disagree there. McGinn definitely close, he says. Villa fan would know. Last 2 weeks, I think that was about a week ago. Had surgery on his knee when it happened. Under and Chelsea double chance, says Dan NW. Don't mind that. If pushed, I would probably be looking at that, I reckon. In terms of where the money's been going for this one, 82% of the money, 92% of the tickets on Chelsea, 54% of the money, 79% of the tickets on over. We know that the numbers are skewed to overs because all the rec money comes from overs. The fact that 54% of the money is on overs, therefore 46 is on unders, makes me think unders are even stronger play. RHM, for the last 6 between them have gone overs. What do we know? Depends if you like those head-to-heads. What else have we got when the trends? João Pedro being first scorer in 2 of Chelsea's last 3. This is true. Half-time scoring has been 0-0 in each of Villa's last 4 Premier League night matches, if you like the quirks of the night games. Let's move on to Brighton against Arsenal. Next, the league leaders in action here. They're short price favourites. They are minus 152. They were minus 165 when I put my notes together earlier today. It's perceived as a tricky fixture. I'm not saying it's not, but the sort of head-to-head would suggest that Arsenal do better than many people think, although it was a draw here last season. They've won 3 of their last 4 on the South Coast here. But Brighton, Lewis, are on a bit of an upswing at the moment. They've won their last 2. The Brentford game, they're impressive. And they were against Forest at the weekend, I guess, as well. I made Arsenal a little bit bigger in this one. I'm not going to bet Brighton, but I think Arsenal will win. I wouldn't really want to take the prices or any value on the sort of main lines first up for you, Lewis.
Yeah, I've got it about right, I think. I mean, if this was Brighton of maybe last season towards the back end, I would give them more of a chance. But I think they've regressed this season, actually. I think there's been a definite downturn in their overall, especially the numbers. They're nowhere near as productive as they were, especially going forward as last season. So I am... Traditionally, I would look to try and fade the elite team against Brighton in this spot because under Hörsler, especially Fabian Hörsler, the Brighton manager, against teams that have qualified for the Champions League that season, so either this season or last season, their record against these teams: played 21, won 9, drawn 5, only lost 7, and that is quite a strong record for a team like Brighton, who are sort of middle ranking in the Premier League. But the problem with this set of data is they have lost 4 of the last 5 of those fixtures now, and this sort of like theory that I have about Brighton against the bigger teams about wanting to get them on side is starting to sort of waver a little bit now. As I mentioned, I think they've regressed, and I think the manager is going to come under huge pressure in the summer. I think there'll be a massive review, I think, about where they're heading, and if there's someone better out there for Brighton, they won't. They already probably know who that is, to be honest. They're so far ahead of the game, aren't they? The way that Brighton do business. Yeah. So he's going to be under pressure big time in the summer. So he's going to need a big end to the season. And so I didn't want to get Brighton on side here, just in any of the match markets. But looking at that data from those 21 games where Brighton play top 5 teams, so to speak, both teams to score has landed in 16 of those 21 matches. And Brighton have averaged 1.5 goals per 90 across those games. This is fixtures against likes of Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Newcastle, all those elite teams in the Premier League that are playing in the Champions League. And Brighton have averaged 1.5 goals per game across 21 match sample size. So I really think that's an impressive figure. And I am going to use that. Use that quite heavily in the way that I've sort of priced up the both teams to score price here, which is coming in at sort of, I'm not sure if we still got it on the screen there. Is it minus 115 still? Yeah. Where are we? Both teams? Yeah, minus 115. I think that's a bet. I'm not going to overcomplicate matters. I'm happy to use that set of data to sort of send me towards this price here. I'd have it a little bit shorter than that. And I think the market is actually leaning towards unders here, which is very rare for a sort of a game in the Premier League. And I think that the goal expectancy is probably a little bit low. So over 2.5, couldn't quite get there on that price. But the fact that we can get the 1-1 on side with the minus 115 here, I think it's the way to play with the both teams to score, because this Arsenal team as well, the winter nil days are sort of long gone now, aren't they? Being a betting staple. Seems that way. For this Arsenal team. I mean, a little bit more vulnerable in recent weeks, and I'm not sure what that's down to. Probably a little bit of pressure, a little bit of variance, maybe. Not too much wrong with what they're doing, I don't think, defensively, but I just think they're you just can't keep clean sheets when you've got such maybe quality players in the opposition that can score goals out of nothing. I mean, so both teams to score landed in the last 4 games for Arsenal, landed in 7 of the last 9 as well. That sort of came into my thinking when just pricing up this bet. So I think Brighton can score in this game. So if I think Brighton can score, Arsenal probably are going to have to score 2 or 3 to win the game, which I think they're very much capable of when they get going. So that both teams to score minus 115. Yeah, that was the bet that sort of jumped out at me most, I think, from when I was researching across the last 2 games on this midweek card. So yeah, the both teams to score here just looks like a price that I thought would move close to kickoff, but we're still sort of being able to get somewhere around even money nearly. So yeah, really like it that both teams to score can bank on this Brighton team to cause problems and get on the score sheet against these types of teams. So yeah. I think that's a good one.
I don't mind that at all. RHM talking about the Chelsea games. Last 24 away games, 79% have cashed over 2.5. Both teams score over 2.5. Chippy Chips talking about the Arsenal game at Brighton. Byron says Arsenal to win to 0 plus 143. Hold your nose and make the proper play, people, he says. Dave says Liverpool just beat them 3-0. Yeah, that was in the cup, wasn't it? Talking about Brighton. The Salty Goat says, well, he disagrees. He says, not the right play. Arsenal couldn't keep my granddad from scoring. Reckons that Arsenal are a little bit leaky at the back. Well, they are at the minute, it would appear. Byron says Chelsea scored an own goal. Still counts. This is true. Byron, Ezra shot on target, -109. If he plays yet, not the worst. The one that I mentioned right at the top of the show is Hinchelwood, who is now sort of playing further forward than he was. It's interesting the way that Brighton have sort of lined up, because they have gone... They sort of revert. About a year ago, I put up a load of stats. I'm sure, Lewis, you'll remember this, about when they didn't have the possession and so on. That they're reverting to type of a few years ago, and they're starting to play a possession game again. And Hinchel was playing further forwards. Gomez, I think, played right, didn't he? I mean, I don't know if Rutter's going to start tonight. I don't know.
I think that might be the key, Dan, because I think Hinchelwood's offering what Rutter would normally do in that pocket. I think in that sort of number 10 role, he's very good at. I've been on these Hinchelwood lines the last few weeks, actually, and he is making those dangerous runs into the box. He's very good at it. His timing is like Frank Lampard-esque. Won't go that far in terms of you've got the quality, but his timing is excellent. He does get on the end of a lot from midfield, and as you say, playing further forward, the data is lagging behind a bit. So if you can get a nice price on the Hinchelwood lines anywhere, I couldn't find them with Bet Rivers. The Bet Rivers
no, neither could I.
I think the Bet Rivers pricing was quite tight, I think, on Hinchelwood. So nothing doing there, but he is a player to watch out when the prices are right, because he is getting involved and getting into dangerous areas. And it's a problem when you're playing against a really good team as well, like Arsenal, who offer up little in terms of volume for shots. So that was also in my thinking with Hinchelwood as well. But he's a player definitely on my radar at the moment.
I think what I like about Brighton, but what makes it tougher better sometimes, is just there is a lot of variation. Hinchelwood, who for most of his career I think has played further back, he's suddenly playing further forward. We've seen Gomez play as a striker, as a defensive midfielder, out wide. There's a lot of variation. I don't think Milner's going to start again for sure, so there's going to be a change in that midfield. Rutter could come in. The one I don't really understand, I know he's a good player, but Gross, since he's come back from Germany, I think he started every single game bar one. Not quite sure he's got the quality that he had in his first spell, but we'll see what happens with that. Brighton to score, says Dan. Hinchelwood, 2-3 shots. Yeah, it's an interesting sort of point of order. And I do think there'll be more front-footed tonight. Going to be an interesting game. I think Arsenal will win it. I don't think Brighton are great, and Herzl is under pressure, as Lewis was pointed out. Plus 210, 0 point over, basically a shot or more on target. So that'd be an interesting one, I think, if you're looking at that. In terms of where the stats here, Brighton have won the first half in 3 of its last 4 Premier League matches as a home underdog. Both teams score a hit in each of its last 4 Premier League games. Lewis was talking about that. Over 3.5 goals market is hitting 3 of Arsenal's last 4 away games. And Kai Havertz, who might start tonight, I don't know. Obviously, Gyökeres against his former club is a little bit of a story. Havertz came on in the game against Chelsea at the weekend. He has scored in each of his last 4 Premier League appearances against Brighton. The real Brendan King says, easy over, I think. Arsenal win. Both teams to score. Tempting, he says. Jimmy said, I mean, there's the infinite numbers of variations in the Brighton De Zerbi heritage. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I do like a lot of this. I mean, Baleba, you know, he's been in and out starting side, hasn't he, since he got back from AFCON? And he was a kid who was going to go for 100 million prior to that. I think
this is where Herzl has really struggled, actually, to get the best out of that squad. Right. I mean, a lot of players have really performed really poorly this season, I think. I mean, the likes of Minte as well has gone off the boil. Matoma has been in and out. He looked better at the weekend. Rutter as well is a really talented player, as Leeds fans will testify. He could go a long way. But it's just that the development of their key players, that this is what it's all about at Brighton, isn't it? Developing these individual players. They're all very much out of form, and they've been out of form for a while, not scoring enough goals. Baleba, I'm not even sure what's happened to him. I mean, he looks a different player this season. He was supposed to be the next sort of cab off the rank in terms of the next Caicedo type of player coming through. But yeah, it's something is amiss at Brighton behind the scenes. I think just with the way that the players are being developed, and they will have absolutely noticed that, the hierarchy, no problems about that in the summer. So they probably look to get another coach in that can maybe light a fire on some of these players and improve them, because that is the Brighton model, isn't it?
Yeah, lots of good younger players that they buy in, they look to improve, and then they give Danny Welbeck, who's 53 years old, another contract through until 2027. There you go. Look, but he's scoring goals, 11 in all competitions, Danny.
Yeah, get him on the plane. Get him on the plane.
Yeah, get him on and play. He's a top bloke, Danny, let me tell you. Against his former club, of course. Right, City Forest next up to take a look at. City here Are minus 250. They have drifted. Lewis's note to me was this one: why are City drifting? Is Haaland going to play? Do we know he's going to play? He's minus 143 any time to score. Forest are plus 650. Ty plus 380. I mean, I'd never bet sort of minus 250, but City, whatever the Asian line is, suddenly starts to look that'd be minus one, wouldn't it? I mean,
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, is this a tempter? What do we know about Haaland? Is he definitely back in, Lewis?
Well, I don't know for sure, but the way the market is moving negatively towards Man City suggests that he isn't going to play, because this is what happens when Haaland has an injury. I think they're drifting because their thoughts are that he isn't going to play. And yeah, as you mentioned, they're minus 250 now, aren't they? What? Yeah, 270 earlier. So I'm not. Really more interesting to get someone like Will White's view on this, really, who studied market moves and activity a lot more in depthly than I do. But I always just think there's such a huge overreaction to team news, especially in the Premier League, where sort of the difference in quality from player to player isn't actually that big anymore in terms of the depth of the squads that the teams have in the Premier League now. And I think Guardiola was asked about this against Leeds when he said, "Oh, you're missing Erling Haaland. How much of a negative is that?" And he just said, "We're missing one top striker and we can bring in another top striker." And I think that sums it up brilliantly, because Haaland didn't play against Leeds. Semenyo scored. Haaland didn't play against Newcastle in the Carabao Cup. Marmoush scored twice. Didn't play against Wolves. Haaland. Marmoush scored again. So this is the sort of levels that they can bring in. Semenyo cost a lot of money. Marmoush cost a lot of money. Yes, Erling Haaland can be a phenomenon when he's at it, but the drop off I don't think is too big, and it wouldn't worry me at all. And even if you look at the numbers, when Haaland is not playing for Man City, again, going to dig into the with and without numbers here. Since the 1st of January 2023, Haaland has missed 21 games in the Premier League and started 105. So this is quite a big sample size here. The Man City win percentage is 81% without him and 61% with him. So 20% difference in terms of whether they miss Haaland or not. A big fat no on that regard. So I think that will surprise a few people, actually. And maybe if this drift is to do with Haaland being out, makes no sense from the market point of view for me. I know there's a lot more sophisticated modelling and stuff goes into it than just the with and without stats, but I do think it overreacts sometimes to the fact that a certain player could be missing. And again, just more evidence here. He was injured, wasn't he, Haaland, towards the back end of last season? I think he missed 7 of their last 8 games in the Premier League. They won 6 of those, and the other one was a 0-0 away at Manchester United. So again, they didn't really miss him in the run-in last season. I just did think if this drift is down to Haaland missing and he doesn't play and it continues to drift towards, oh God, I don't know, anywhere near sort of minus 200 potentially. I'm not sure we're going to go that far, but I mean, it does open up possibilities, I think, to try and get Manchester City on side in some regard. If the market overreacts too much, I think it's a bit of a myth, this Haaland impact on Manchester City. There could even be an argument to suggest they're a better team without him. I don't want to go down that route again, because I know we've spoken about it a lot. So yeah, I was just interested to see if this market move is to do with Haaland, and if it is, then I think it's overreacted.
I completely agree. We've talked about Haaland a lot, and I'm not saying that he's a poor player, but City in their last season before Haaland rocked up scored more goals in the Premier League. You know, well, what do you want? What evidence do you want? It was just from lots of different sources. Now, they did start to play his way, but Pep sort of rode back on that a little bit. So, you know, I mean, getting back to this and forget about Haaland, Michael there is just talking about City half-time, full-time, Celtic half-time, full-time. Jack put up half-time, full-time City, and City have been a massive first half side, haven't they, Lewis? I'm sure you clocked onto that earlier. I don't know if the sort of price of that has gone, but half-time, full-time, you can certainly make a case for. Jack make a good case for it on the Premier League show. What else have we got here? A lot of people giving us some Harlow info. Yeah, plus 107 for half-time, full-time, says Byron. Fade all the big teams, says Lightning today. No Haaland, says Maserati. Fox, Semenyo goal. Half-time, full. The Lightning saying today marks the start of Arsenal bottling the league again.
Hope so.
Real branding. Haaland, without Haaland, City will still kill Forest, says Byron. Tribal says hello, gents. Big game for Villa. Could go 9 points to Chelsea. Haaland still dealing with physical comfort. Semenyo to score. City first half team, yeah, and over 1.5 team total minus 145, says Brian. What else have we got here? Nico O'Reilly shot on target plus 145 if he plays sort of further forward, which he might do. Any leans in this one at all?
I've got
Lewis,
official play actually comes with the Nottingham Forest shots line. I really like it actually.
Yes.
Here. Because we can get minus 130, I think, with the line with Bet Rivers here on over 8.5 Nottingham Forest shots. And that makes a lot of sense to me to back that, I think, at the price. I mean, Manchester City have actually conceded 11 or more shots in their last 7 Premier League games. So they're averaging 12.8 shots faced in that run, which, again, I think is would surprise a few people. It's not really not really sort of vintage Pep Guardiola control, isn't it? They're a little bit more transitional, a little bit more open than perhaps they were under Pep Guardiola. And I think the markets are slightly sleeping on this trend, really, about the City shots faced, which is something which I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on in the running, I think, because even Wolves managed to hit the 11 shots mark. And if Wolves are hitting 11 shots against the team, then I think anyone in the Premier League should be able to get somewhere near that factor. I think it's a bit of a pattern that's emerging now with Man City's shots faced, giving up a bit more territory. And I think even against the worst teams in the league, like Nottingham Forest, there's enough quality there in the final third for them to sustain attacks and get shots away when they're on song. And if you just look at Nottingham Forest's last 8 matches across all competitions, get ready for this figure, Dan. They're averaging 18.5 shots per game over their last 8 matches.
That's insane.
Such a massive figure. Slightly skewed maybe towards with the Sean Dyche last game, where I think they had maybe 31 in that 0-0 draw, that famous 0-0 draw, which was the end for Sean Dyche in the end. But still, it doesn't fall that much over another sort of eight matches. And I think they're just playing with a bit more freedom under Pereira, potentially throwing a bit more caution to the wind. And I do think the pressure of the relegation situation can do that to teams sometimes, where they do actually think, right, we've got to go and win this game here. The draws are no good anymore. Let's go out and win. And I do think that can affect the shots volume in certain situations. So yeah, with the fact that you're looking at the 2 averages here, Man City conceding 11 or more in the last 7. Nottingham Forest averaging 18.5. I think they can go to the Etihad and clear this line. 8.5, need 9 shots from Nottingham Forest for this to cop at minus 130. So yeah, this nearly made the daily double. Definitely up there in terms of confidence as the both teams to score in Arsenal versus Brighton, I think. So yeah, 2 good plays there. Those 2 are the best I found on the card, actually. They're the both teams to score, Arsenal, Brighton, and this over 8.5 line for Nottingham Forest shots. Not shots on target, this is just shots.
Shots. Just attempts on goal, effectively, isn't it?
Attempts on goal, exactly. I think they can get 9 quite comfortably.
Yeah, what I think has helped Forest, although you wouldn't have thought it given the results, is that all of their sort of main back 5, if we count the keeper back now. I mean, Sells came back, didn't he, at the Brighton game? I know they got beat, but Anya Williams, Milenkovic and Murillo, who were the bedrock of their good season last season. Ola Aina had a lot of time out earlier this season. Murillo missed a few games here and there. And I know that, as a unit, they've not been as good, but there's that familiarity, hopefully bringing in Sangare's back after AFCON as well. He missed a lot last season. And if you look at their starting lineup tonight, don't know what it'll be, but it'd be very similar to what they played with last year when they were, obviously very, very good. I think I've bet Forest to go down. I got a lot of grief right at the start of the season, but I think they'll probably escape the drop for my money because I think they've got.
It's one of those great bets. It's just going to lose, isn't it? Unfortunately, I think at the start of the season that was a really good bet for us to go down. But it's so many things can happen over the season, can't it? In terms of manager changes and whatever. It just you think you're onto a winner, and everything just changes with a manager change in the relegation market. So it is a pat on the back for you, Dan, but no money probably coming your way, which is
it's one of those. It's one of those you can't eat value people who throw that at your face. But look,
value's not going to keep you warm at night. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Triber Goal says Bournemouth Brentford unders sheesh last night. Well, you look at some of the Bournemouth numbers and unders. It's sort of the thing at home. But anyway, that was last night.
I'll tell you a story. I'll tell you about that game. I had a couple of prop bets which I was trying to boost the price up slightly. One in order to get a bigger price, and also to maybe stay under the radar of a price which was looking at what the traders might have been looking at. So I added over 0.5 goals into both of those to make it into a parlay. Both of the main lines copped, and it lost because of the over 0.5. So yeah, absolutely. I was fuming watching that game. I mean, Bournemouth's XG was over 2, wasn't it? Yeah. So I was trying to be too shrewd and greedy. Did the hard part, and then the extra leg let me down. So unbelievable, really. But hey, this is the risk you take. Sometimes you just have to laugh and move on. Otherwise, you just go round in circles.
Byron says Lega defenses for the bigger sides potentially. Total match shots over 24.5 minus 127 looks a bet if we think Forest goes over. Yeah, you get both of you just shouting for chances and shots, aren't you?
Great bet to follow those ones.
Yeah, it's not the worst to sit back and watch that. I completely get that. Maserati Fox talking about Nico has a injury, might not play for City tonight. That's the Forest game. What else we got? A couple more games to look at before we power down. We've got Fulham, West Ham. Just before I do that, 98% of the money, 97% of the tickets on City, 79% of the money, 84% of the tickets on overs. The over line, the sort of regular line, is 3.5. The Asian line is 3. City have won 4 of its last 5 Premier League Wednesday matches to 0, and City has won the first half in each of its last 10 Premier League home matches. Jack gave a really good case for half-time, full-time, if you like that, obviously before the Haaland sort of news. But as Lewis has pointed out, with or without, they start quickly, sometimes don't get over the line. Semenyo scored a goal in 4 of City's last 5 Premier League matches when City have been the favourite. Right, Fulham against West Ham next up, which is the last 2:30 Eastern kickoff. We'll talk about Newcastle Man United in just a sec. What have we got here? Fulham are plus 106, West Ham plus 255. Fulham have won the last 3 in all competitions, haven't won 4 on the spin since the run of 5 on the spin, December 22 into Jan 23. This is, I make it, Lewis, the shortest price that Fulham have been to beat West Ham for 15 years. They might not have been in the same division for all that time, but there's enough there. They lost that game 3-1. I priced this up. I made Fulham even money. I'm probably going to leave it alone. I think West Ham might win it, but I'm probably going to leave it alone. What are your thoughts on Fulham West Ham?
Yeah, I think West Ham, a dangerous team to oppose at the moment. I think they've got goals in them, which is a very, very good thing to have in your favour when you're battling relegation. I think. I mean, Jarrod Bowen and Somerville are real quality, aren't they, on both wings and in form, and they are playing in a style of football now which completely suits them under Nuno. The counter-attack in transition, they're both excellent at playing that way. Couldn't quite pull the trigger on West Ham. Double chance, a bit too short for me. I thought the prices were right in the sort of the traditional 1x2 markets, but I think this is a game where I think it could get quite loose, to be honest, in terms of goals. I think backing overs is your thing. I think this could be the game for you tonight. I think this is the one to focus on and probably watch, because Fulham matches are actually becoming a bit of a magnet for goals. I mean, they go under the radar in terms of the goal output, really. But 10 of their last 11 gone over 2.5 goals now. And at home, they've only failed to score in 1 of their last 17 games. So this is not an overly exciting team to watch, but they're so well coached and organised, like clockwork, aren't they? I could just rely on Fulham all the time. I just know who's going to play. I know how they're going to play. And they just turn up every week and they perform to a rather consistent level. And I love that when I'm looking to invest in football. Just consistency is absolutely key when I'm looking at teams to back. And I think Fulham are a real consistent side under Marco Silva. And I do like backing goals when the prices were right, because this is, I mean, West Ham come into the game as well. They scored 1.7 goals per game across their last 9. Expected goals data per 90 as well is at 2.05 across the last 9 as well, which is such a massive figure for a team that are probably likely to get relegated still. They do create lots of chances. They do give up chances at the other end as well, which probably explains why their XG is so high in attack, because they're always making mistakes and having to chase games. So the overs was the way I wanted to play this, and the price has moved though. I mean, I got a bit of minus 125 a couple of days ago when the market formed. Thought that was a really nice bet over 2.5, but we're looking at minus 162 now. So no use to anyone there in terms of getting on now. I think that price has gone. I think the goal line's moved from over 2.5 to like a 3 Asian line now, which says how much it's been bet. So market is aligned with the way that I'm thinking here in terms of this game could get quite wild. So had to be quite creative to find a bet. And whenever there's a chance to back Harry Wilson, the Fulham maestro this season, to score or assist at plus money, I'm getting involved. That was my sort of my mantra over the past sort of few months, is to back this when the price is right. And I think it is with Bet Rivers here. Plus 110, we can get Harry Wilson to score and assist in a game which is going to produce goals. I think that's the way to play, because he's having an absolute season of all seasons, isn't he, really, Wilson? amazing how that can happen, really, when the threat of unemployment is on the horizon. I mean, he's a free agent, isn't he, in the summer, and he's gone down the Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang route of absolutely tearing it up when his contract's coming down. I do think one day when I get a bit of time, I'm going to be running these numbers and looking at players in the last, especially attacking players, last year of their contract, and see the spike. Look at Mo Salah last season as well. Exactly the same happened there. Sign the deal, bang, feet up, no problem, job done. So everyone's in it for themselves, really, down at the end of the day, aren't they? And this is what Harry Wilson's doing. He's just having an absolute amazing season. I mean, he's working at a 0.85 per 90 goal involvement. So that's goal or assist. And that's since November. So only Erling Haaland and Bruno Fernandes have more goal involvements in that time than Harry Wilson, who's got 14 in the Premier League. And so if you were looking at Haaland or Fernandes, if they were playing at home to West Ham, what price would they be for a goal or assist in this match? I mean, heavy minus money, you'd have thought. So the fact we can get plus 110 on Harry Wilson, a man in form, got 2 goal assists at the weekend against Spurs. This bet also landed in the reverse fixture against West Ham, where he grabbed an assist. You just got so many avenues of this bet landing in terms of him setting one up. He's on corners, he's on free kicks, he's very creative with the ball, and he's also got an absolute wand of a left foot that can find the net at any point in the match. So really like this. Plus money, Harry Wilson score assist. That's the way to get a bit of value on side now that over 2.5 line has been backed.
Now, don't shoot the messenger, Lewis. Whatever you do, don't shoot the messenger. But Maserati Fox has been on. I've just checked this as well. He says, no Harry Wilson ankle injury.
Oh, no. What a waste of 5 minutes.
Now, according to the Premier League table, injury table, ankle foot injury, some knocks from the last game. I presume this is from Marco Silva. So we have to keep on assessing them to take a decision. Late fitness test is what.
Oh, here we go.
The Premier League finisher. Maserati Fox might be the go-to. Look, if you play these things and they don't start, you get your money back. So don't be
exactly. But I apologise if he doesn't start, because that is a waste of everyone's time. Such a brilliantly made case as well. So that's just
he might start. He might start.
I didn't see that, so apologies for not seeing that. But that's it's one to note for future reference, for future games. Harry Wilson, goal, score, assist when he's back fit, and probably playing for Inter Milan. Probably the way he's going next season in Serie A somewhere. His goal assist price. I mean, it depends when his contract's running out, I suppose, isn't it? So,
in terms of the money line, most of the money on Fulham, most of the money on overs, 95% of the money. Both West Ham and Fulham are profitable over 2.5 teams this season. They are not profitable over 3.5. So 3 is very much the line for these two teams. Somerville scored a goal in 3 of West Ham's last 4 away matches is another trend.
Yeah, they're all live. Somerville, Bowen, all those goal score prices absolutely live tonight, I think, as well. Yeah. I won't go into too in depth in it, but I just think if you can get a price on a goal scorer who you fancy tonight, especially Somerville, if he's within range, definitely pull the trigger, because I think there's goals in this game.
Beast Soccer is the app that he uses. Shows pretty. Yeah, I don't mind that. I'm not. They will get it from somewhere else though. Maserati Fox. They won't generate it themselves. I'll tell you that much. So, let me tell you that. Anyway, we are running out of time. We've got one more game to preview, and it's the second part of the Daily Double coming up here as well. This is an interesting one because when we did the Premier League show on Monday, myself and Nigel and Jack, we all thought that there's no way that Newcastle should be favourites, and they were at the time of recording. Now United are favourites, but when I priced this up yesterday morning, I did make Newcastle favourites, and at plus 165, I don't think they're the worst bet at all. And I know you're sort of in the same sort of vanguard as me here. I probably won't bet them. I'd like a little bit bigger, but yeah, at first I thought United should be favourites. Then when I did the numbers, they're not. But injury situation, I don't know if there's a bug, as I think it was Maserati said before, or someone said there's a bug in the United camp. Don't know about that. What's your thoughts on Newcastle, Man United?
Well, the bug is in the Newcastle camp. I think Walter Marder came down with it. Ramsey came down with it as well. It's not the Manchester United camp.
So that's maybe one of the reasons then.
Yes, exactly. Maybe the sort of the move towards Manchester United here. And Newcastle are going to go off a similar price at home here as they did against Barcelona in September. So obviously not an exact science to say that the market rates Manchester United just as much as Barcelona. But this is the sort of vibes we're getting from Manchester United fans and people that love betting Manchester United at the moment.
Loves that, really.
And so this is a really interesting conundrum I think we have here with this Newcastle price, because everything inside me is telling me to play this Newcastle price at what, plus 165 for the win, or we can get a plus a quarter, I think, on the Asian line, minus 139. Oh, God, if you were giving me that Newcastle at home against Manchester United, earlier this season, I would be absolutely all over that. We're knocking the door down. But my gut's telling me that's too big. But my head is telling me just to stay clear of such an inconsistent team like Newcastle, because they can be really good when they play Paris Saint-Germain. They can beat Villa in the FA Cup. They can tear the place down against Qarabag, but then they can also throw in stinkers against Brentford and Everton. And obviously Bruno Guimaraes is still missing.
He's out. Chippy Chips, he's out. Oh, Bruno was talking about, not Guimaraes, talking about Fernandez. Sorry. Continue, Lewis.
Bruno Guimaraes, he is missing. And there's an illness going around the camp too, as we mentioned, with Mortamada. That's not going to help matters. And their schedule as well is just frightening, isn't it? I mean,
massive.
Man City in the FA Cup next, Barcelona in the Champions League, Chelsea away, Barcelona away, and then Sunderland at home. I mean, all in the space of 25 days or so. It's absolutely crazy. Very exciting for everyone involved with Newcastle. But in terms of their legs and the fatigue and where they're going to be at in this time, I don't know, in 2-3 weeks, it's going to be absolutely very difficult to put faith in this Newcastle team in the Premier League, I think, when surely all their eggs are going to be across cup competitions now. So can't back Manchester United at that price. Not going to back Newcastle at the price because I can't trust them, even though my gut is telling me that Newcastle under the lights at St James's Park with a quarter goal start against Manchester United has to be a bet, Lewis. It just has to be, but it's not, because I'm going to stay clear of it because they're just so inconsistent. So we're going to go shots on target market for the daily double.
Yeah.
And we're going to go Benjamin Sesko over 0.5 shots on target. Minus 195 is a bet which I like, and a bet I'm going to put into this daily double to get a price of plus 119 for the double. That's a lovely price, I think. And Sesko looks like he's going to start. He looks like he's really sort of fitted into this Manchester United system now.
Difficult to leave out now, isn't he? He's sort of gently got him into the starting 11, hasn't he, Carrick, I think?
Yeah, he could be a player that actually delivers for Manchester United here on potential. Love the look of him, actually. He can run, he can head it, he can hold the play, can link the play. He's got the physicality to deal with the Premier League. He is a very exciting player, I think, which could go on to some special things at Manchester United. And he's just scoring a lot of goals at the moment, isn't he? Off the bench from the start. Scored against Palace, third game running. But it's his shots on target data at the moment is quite frankly ridiculous, and it just has to be a bet. This price with Bet Rivers. So if you run his numbers since the 6th of January, he's averaging, wait for this, Dan, 4.66 shots on target per game, 18 shots on target in 348 minutes of action. So he's having a shot on target every 19 minutes in current form. So an implied probability here that Bet Rivers are offering is 66% that he has one shot on target in 90 minutes. I just think that looks really generous.
Brilliant.
I'd have it closer to 70%, so sort of like minus 233-ish, and we get in sort of minus 190, something around that mark. So I think United are bound to going to create chances. The market is moving in their favour. Sesko playing at the sort of the focal point behind Fernandez, Cunha, and Mbeumo. Such a creative force behind him. They're going to be just supplying him with lots of ammunition, and he's shown that he can hit the target, whether it's with his head, whether it's on the floor. He's just a guy who's got the averages historically as well, that hits the target when he's supposed to. So I do think combining the unders at Aston Villa under 3.5 and the Sesko shot on target line is the way to play. Nearly plus 120. I think that's a great bet, and hopefully we can go back to back on the daily doubles, because we landed one on Friday as well, didn't we? So hopefully this.
Yes, we did.
Again,
yeah, we did. He did. Hats off to Lewis for that one. Hopefully go back to back with this. Last bit of stats for you before we say goodbye. Most of the money on United, 90% of the money on Manchester United. I shouldn't keep saying United. Pitman Hughes would kill me. 63% of the money on under, 77% of the tickets on over. So a little bit of difference there. The line is 3.5. A lot of Newcastle games has gone over recently, as United's have. Newcastle have lost each of his last 3 home Premier League matches. Over 4.5 goals market is hitting 3 of Newcastle's last 4 home games as well. Both teams to score all those very, very popular. Both teams to score sitting 11 of Man United's last 12 away Premier League games as well. Hitman's going to be on Instagram Live, incidentally, at 8:15. That's when this game kicks off. He's going to be with Steve. They're going to be talking about The games that kicked off at 7:30, so make sure you join them at half-time in those and ahead of that Newcastle-Manchester United game. It's on our Instagram page, 3:50 Eastern live. That is your last word from the gang in chat. Sessigo massively improved, says Ming. Maserati Fox, been watching him at Leipzig, going to be comfortable in the Premier League. Nice daily double, under 3.5, feels very safe. Can't see 4 goals. Good luck, everyone, says Maserati Fox. Hope you're wrong about the Harry Wilson. And Arshavin's on. Someone says, are you Claudio in disguise, Arshavin? I suspect you might be, but I can't slag Arshavin off because one of my best ever bets of all time was when I bought him Sporting Index goal minutes at 15 when he got 5 off at Anfield, and I made an absolute fortune.
Wow, what a story that is!
Brilliant.
How often do you? I've never heard that story before, Dan. That would be coming out every day if that was me.
Mate, I'm telling you, it was absolutely incredible. I was covering the game at the time. He's basically the spread was 12-15. I bought at 15. And every single time his goal minutes. Have a look at that, gang, if you like your spread bets. That was a nice win. But Arshavin, come on, we're not going to be wrong today. We're going to be right. Lewis is always right. He knows, as we know. Thanks a lot. And Bolo Charge says, Harry Maguire, 2 more fouls, one from Lewis as well. Is that one that you put over the weekend?
What was that? Missed that. What was that? Sorry.
Harry Maguire, 2 or more fouls.
Oh no, that's tonight. Yeah, there's a big.
Oh, is that tonight?
There's a big treble, big double rolling over here with Maguire to be fouled. Fouls 1. Yes, exactly. Very developing trend. Needs 2 tonight, and we've copped. So hopefully that lands.
Brilliant stuff. Lewis, enjoyed your company. We have prattled on for over an hour tonight. Many thanks to everybody who's joined us. Steve will be back tomorrow for the Thursday game. How on earth Spurs are favourites to beat anybody at the minute? I've got no idea. They're a false price. Steve will be covering that game for you tomorrow. From myself and Lewis, that is your lot. Have a good night tonight. Hopefully it'll be a profitable one. You cash some tickets. We'll be back again for more Betting Weekly Live tomorrow. From all of us for now, it's goodbye.